time is a very relative thing just for in our brains. That's all it is. We go by cycles. That's why we call it time. Otherwise, how do I know what is time? So that's why it's called the ancient. It is like the ancient most. So that's another way we can think of God. So that was Puranam. And then it says Anushasitaram, means a ruler of the world. So the way he described the ruler, because Swamiji made a joke in here, it's not like some sultan sitting over there with a danda and telling, hey, you go to hell and you go to heaven. No. Not that kind of sultan. He's saying sultan means it's, and then he gave examples, a better way to go about it, like mud and mud pots. So the mud pots are made from the mud. So mud pots can never be away from mud. Is that true or not? Or like waves and ocean. Waves can never be away from the ocean. It is as the ocean is the ruler. Because it's come from it, it's merged in it, and it'll stay in it. That's it. So ocean is the boss. Without that, उसकी कोई हस्ती नहीं है. So इसके हिसाब से it's an overruler of us. And then the other example, very common for the women, are like the gold and the gold ornaments. If I have a gold ornament, that ornament can never be away from gold. Otherwise, it won't exist. So from that perspective, it is a ruler. So that's Anushasita. And then the next one it gave is Anoha Aniyasam, meaning minuter than the minute. So इसमें अणु बोला है. अणु बोलते हैं उसको atom को. Yeah, atom को. So it's just giving an indication that it's even smaller than atom. And the reason they chose atom, because atom is the smallest thing that holds that quality of that particular substance together. So when I say an atom of oxygen, so that whole, it is so small, we cannot see it with naked eyes, but it holds that quality of it. So it's smaller than that also. So it's beyond even that, or atom has even come from that. You can say that way, Any kind of comments on it? Everybody getting that, right? And then that was the next one was a minuter than the atom. And there's one more thing he talked about minute, that when we say minute and we say, Atma is in me, and it is really minute, it doesn't mean small that way. It means all pervasive. And let's analyze that all pervasiveness. When he says something is smaller, it doesn't mean in size, but it means in like subtleness. And the example given is like a block of ice. It's H2O. And then it's one block and it's sitting there. When I start heating it, what happens? It turns into water first. So it becomes a little more pervasive. It starts spreading. And then you keep heating it, then what happens? Evaporates. It doesn't mean it disappeared. No. In one sense, yes, it disappeared, meaning exactly. Yeah. So it has become more pervasive. And then the elements that we have, 5 elements we have, and we know that earth is the really gross, like solid, and as we go further in the elements, it gets more and more subtle, right? Like fire and air, and then we go, space is the most subtle. Yeah. So I can make a statement that space pervades everything. I can very safely make that, right? In and through everything is space. Whereas consciousness is one step subtler than that. Space exists in consciousness. Consciousness does not exist in space. Now just think about this statement. So everybody got it, right? Yeah. So space is the most subtle thing, and this is even subtler than that. Consciousness. So that's why it's said that smaller than the atom. That's another way of looking at it. that it is so subtle that it pervades everything, me, this world, space, everything, and is beyond that also. The space has originated from consciousness. Yes, that's why. That was subtler part of it. And then comes supporter of all, nourisher of all. That's very easy for us to understand, nourisher for all. But then he also gave few examples. It's like we are seeing a movie, and movie is nothing but the play of light through the machine, whatever, they're projecting it. But on what is it projected? Screen. We never think about the screen. But the fact is, without the screen, you don't have a movie. I don't care whether it's a TV screen or a other white screen. You cannot project it somewhere in the space and watch a movie. So that means that in another way we can say that it is the nourisher. The screen is a nourisher for the movie. And then, Shireen is an artist, she paints. What do you need to paint? Canvas. The colors cannot go in the air and start painting.
Yes.
So for your painting to be held together, you have that screen behind. So I think that here they are trying to explain that even though it is very subtle, very everything, but consciousness is a supporter of everything. It is the non-moving thing behind the moving universe. And sometimes, we scientifically prove that for anything to move, you need a non-moving object. Is that
they
true?
give the example of a wheel. गीता में ही देते हैं.
व्हील का भी है, और सपोज फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कार हमको ले जानी है तो हमको सड़क चाहिए कि नहीं? सड़क इज लाइक अ सपोर्टर ऑफ इट. When we want to go in a ship, we need water, otherwise ship cannot move. So relatively speaking, water is more steady than the ship. Ship is moving and the water is there. For the plane, you need air. So for universe is constantly moving. It's in a flux. Universe. Everything is. If you look at an atom, even within atom, those things are moving, right? Proton, neutron, whatever you call it. All the Earth and solar system is moving. Galaxies are moving.
We are also.
They are also moving. Everything is moving in the body. Changing, moving, both.
It's
Change is also another kind of movement.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're right.
हाँ, the thing is like जो वेदांत में बोलते हैं ना, हस्ती भांति प्रिय एट्रीब्यूट है कॉन्शियसनेस का. नाम रूप, that consciousness has merged out into name and form. The naam roop is what you see.
What you see, but
hasti bhati priya.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to bring to everybody's attention is that yes, that whatever you see in this world, I don't care whether it's our body, our mind, outside things, do we all agree that it's constantly changing?
We have to experience. Agree तो सभी हाँ बोल देंगे.
Actually, experience is not easy, but the way they are explaining that when you get that consciousness, you can see. When you merge with that, only then you can see that this whole world is nothing but everything is like constantly moving. We are whatever we see this thing. It look like solid to our eyes, but it is not.
But scientifically, we know. Now, we all are educated over here. This table is looking solid, but at a molecule level, things are moving in there. Do you agree or not? Because if we say atom, atom में तो बहुत हलचल हो रही है भाई अंदर, right? And in our body also. So even we don't have to become self-realized to know
that's why the table will have a life.
Yeah.
After
and everything
time,
kind of
life will finish.
क्या बोलते हैं कि it becomes it is
खत्म हो जाएगा.
Yeah, it is manifest, stays for a while, and it destroys. So now we have seen the scientific fact that for a moving thing we need a non-moving object has to be there, otherwise moving cannot happen. That's what I'm trying. We never think about it that way, but it's the truth. Just like I gave the example of a movie and a screen. Without screen, you don't have a movie. Without canvas, you do not have a painting. We also need space to be in, a non-moving thing. We need a space to exist. So what is that ultimate supporter is the consciousness. That's what is trying to come at. That is a nourisher for us because it's a non-moving substratum and it always stays the same, which allows the universe to change. That's it.
When we are saying non-moving, it means like it's relatively moving less as compared, but because we made a statement that everything is moving.
That is the matter, that's the lower nature of God. That's very important to distinguish. Remember, he talked about higher nature, and he talked about higher nature always stays the same. Okay? It does not change. That's why the time factor is not there in it. Because time, what is time in our understanding? It can be two experience, उसके बीच में जो होता है उसको time हम बोल देते हैं, या एक जगह से दूसरे जगह जाने को हम time बोलते हैं. पर यहाँ से मुझे यहाँ जाना 1 घंटा लगेगा, correct? और कोई चीज़ हर जगह हो उसको जाने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है कहीं भी. No, that's how we were explaining.
Very good.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's all pervade space. That's why space doesn't move.
There.
Because it's everywhere. Where it's gonna go? It has no place to go. It pervades everything. You know. So it is hard. See, that's why these things are so important to do contemplation upon it. Because just if you look at the word, it's not gonna be anything.
We do that prayer, no? Om Purnvidam.
Right. So all these are the same things that it is making you think that what is that higher self? How it sustains and pervades everything. Without that we are nothing and all that. Then we develop that bhakti or the devotion or something like that, you know. Because intellectuals otherwise they won't. उसको बोलो जाके मूर्ति में तुम भगवान को देखो उसको दिखाई नहीं देगा. But if you go take them to this route, they'll say, okay, now I see it, you know. And that's why we talked about that, okay, we say meditate upon God. Hey, if I don't even know who God is, how can I meditate upon it? I can pretend that I'm sitting quietly, but I don't know what to do now. You know, I withdrew my energy from the world. In fact, if you don't know what to do in meditation, you can literally go crazy, and it has happened. Because somebody in my family, everybody's meditating, I want to meditate too. She started feeling so like out of it. She said, I'm going crazy, I need to. Then I said, no, you gotta hang on to something. When you withdraw your energy, you should know where to put it.
No,
if you don't,
it's not only that. Like, you know, people who don't feel peace when they are meditating, the first indicator that you are meditating right is that you are feeling peace within. Some people, they try to control their mental energy, and then controlling by force create friction in brain, and people can go crazy. So they are not meditating right. That's when people go
yeah,
crazy.
that's one aspect of it. And the other aspect of what is my goal in meditation? Right? That's the most important thing, because I am trying to take my consciousness and take it higher and higher. But if I don't even know what that higher self is, how can I direct my consciousness there? That's what the point. And that's why Krishna Bhagavan is directing his mind. Okay, I told you should have a life centered on God, because at the time of death, if you want mukti, and even during that, when in meditation, if you want to establish, then these are the pointers. And then he's going to continue this till almost, chapter probably 13. Keep giving more and more detail, but we have to build the definition from now here. You cannot suddenly say, because he's going to say some really complicated thing in chapter 9 now, when we come to that.
See, now I followed this song which I heard, I think it's Nanak's, Simran Kar Le Mere Mana, in which he says, Bina Ved ke Pandit is Vihina, and all those examples he gave, like you need that for this.
Yes.
So that's what basically.
Yeah, basically it is. And then,
so I never connected it with this.
So now things are, because that's what happens to me also. Say, I'm reading this and I'm trying to understand. I say, okay, that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
All of a sudden some tube light goes into your head,
Sure.
and it opens up. And then one question had come up 2 weeks ago that, hey, do we need a guru why do we need a guru? One of the main reasons we need a guru is because this is an extremely subtle subject. It is very indicative, everything. It's बोलते हैं ना, हिंदी में बोलते हैं संकेतात्मक वो है. So अगर हम उसका word meaning ले लेंगे ना, हम एकदम wrong direction में जाएंगे. It is so important to understand that, and that's why when we do that Sahana Bhavtu prayer, we say, or this, when we're going to do Mandukya prayer, it tells you, please give me the understanding and strength to understand this correctly. Because if we don't understand correctly, then there's a havoc. And you see the fanaticism and all that in this world, what havoc it creates. Religion is supposed to unite. You know, that's what the whole idea is, that you are, as you go higher and higher, you realize everybody's one, everything is one, you know. And if you're not getting that, like you said, that means I'm going in the wrong direction, you know. So that's why you need a guru, because we do so many mistakes in our understanding. And then you have a person who has, a guru should be the person who has actually experienced that too.
Is exactly.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to again have a problem.
Otherwise, वो enlightened नहीं होगा तो फिर.
Yeah, so that's why
Also,
it's very important that I always follow the Swamiji's commentary, because I have a faith and trust that you will lead me into the right direction, you know, otherwise I can go.
Also 3 levels of learning. One is literal words, then what is in between the words, what it means, and third is what is the laksh, what is the aim.
Goal.
So once you understand all 3, then only you understand the sentence.
Yes.
So we are in the number 2.
Trying to be. Okay. So, where were we? Narration ho gaya apna. Now this one is going to be a very good one. It says form inconceivable. Chutti. That means we cannot conceive it.
Yeah.
So now he's explaining, okay, why? Because that's very important, that, okay, why it is form inconceivable. Because it's
Achintya Swarup.
Achintya Rupam. So he's saying that it cannot be comprehended by our senses. Simple. Because it is power behind the senses. And one of the best examples, because for children we have to come up with, and it will apply to us also, that when we think about that, is something like this, that if I want to see something from a telescope, so I use the telescope and I see, right? But I cannot see myself through the telescope.
Yeah.
Think about it.
You're the
Because
seer.
I'm behind, I'm the seer. So how do you catch the seer? You cannot comprehend by your senses. And the other very good example that you guys think, and we never think about this, I can never see my own eyes.
Right.
Yes,
That's
of course.
I can see the reflection of it in the mirror, but I cannot, because I am behind it.
yeah.
That's why it's inconceivable. It's not because, but he said, okay, Bhagwan ne bol to diya, it's inconceivable. Does that mean that we quit this class and just go home because I can never comprehend it? That was the thing. He's saying, no. In meditation, when you are, meditating and putting your energies to go towards that higher, one day will come, you will merge with, and you will become that. And then you are like, it's like the other example.
Then you won't know. Then you won't know.
You will know, but you become all-knowing. I mean, all these people who, if you see their experience,
Right.
when only very few talk about their experience, like the Sadhguru did. He said that he felt so much joy, so much connection with the universe, that he just kept crying for hours with joy,
Actually, a lot of his followers have also experienced
Yes,
it.
they
I
were.
met at least 2 to I have met
Yes,
myself.
yes.
You know what I feel, that happens in stages. You don't become enlightened all of a sudden.
No, when you say
you can't
enlightened means
become-
उनकी
it
journey
goes
पहले
up.
से शुरू हुई है,
हाँ,
right?
हाँ,
जन्मों जन्मों का.
और ना वो जो
कितने births का होगा,
journey
कितने
है ना, you
births का.
feel connection and you feel that peace. So according to me, I think that happens in stages.
No, when you
And
say
for everybody it
stages,
happens
but
differently because
Yes.
you are unique.
you don't know their journey behind. right?
Like I don't know what is going inside Joe or what is going inside Meera, but
Exactly, it can happen
there
like
is
this.
no other way. There's only one way.
In fact, I have this.
These stages are getting you there, but it's like in a cave.
Yeah. Okay, I
It's
got
dark for thousands of years. You light a match, and at once there is light. So it's the Big Bang. So now, like this is what the Ramakrishna's talk was, that he became that, but then he came back, and he was still going back and forth. So according to this latest one I heard it was like a hole to the universe in him. So he was showing people, what you can see through him.
That's why you need a guru, because he's the one
Yeah.
who can tell you. And then he also, Krishna Bhagwan talks about that. He's saying the people who getting it is a wonder. What they see is a wonder, and sometimes they can't describe it, what
Right.
it is. It's like a simple thing also. If I go and see a very beautiful sight somewhere which none of you have seen, and I come back and I keep talking about it. Hey, it was so great. That mountain was so big. It was so pretty. And in the end, I say, "Tu hi chale jao." I cannot sit there. I cannot experience. And even it's happening here, and I see the sunsets, from my home, and I can never capture the picture because what it looks in reality is so amazing. Neither I can describe to anybody, nor I can take a picture.
उसका
The
था ना
picture doesn't do justice.
Lao Tse जो था ना, he used to go for a walk every morning. So this guy used to go with him. And one day he asked him, "Can I bring a friend of mine?" So he said, "Okay." So he went there, they went for a walk. At the end of the walk, the friend said, "Oh, how beautiful it was." And the Lao Tse told his friend, "Don't bring him next time, because he limited what I was experiencing."
Yeah, and here this says the last lap of the journey is a sudden windfall of divine grace. The final success is not in our hands to order about.
Exactly.
That's what it says on this
No, that's
bookmark.
true.
So this is Chinmayananji's quote, that your job is keep going on that path, keep purifying your mind, and then one day, boom, it happens. And when it's going to happen, nobody knows.
And also, this is exactly the thing. See, the Christ went to India to learn, and then he came back.
Right.
So he was a Jew before. So if you look at the difference between Jewish religion and Christianity and Hindu religion, this is the main item which is same in Christianity and this. Only by grace of God you feel that.
Yeah.
Just by following the 10 Commandments, you're not going to get there. So this is where he changed the religion that way.
Because ultimate truth is always the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's saying that, look, it is unconceivable, and so Swamiji is making this statement. He's saying that we should not despair at this kind of thinking, knowing the unknowable, conceiving the inconceivable, understanding the ununderstandable, or experience the inexperiencable. So then what do? Then he immediately says, luminous like the sun, Aditya Varna. And Aditya Varna, luminous like a sun, meaning self-effulgent. Means you do not need another light to see the sun. I need sun to see everything. But to actually see the sun, do I need another sun? No. It's self-luminous.
It is self-luminous.
That's the word meaning it. Self-luminous means that once my mind is all withdrawn from the world and I connect, how do I know God? It is self-luminous. When I become that, I already know. The knowing just happens. And all the people who are self-realized, if they do talk about their experience, that's what it is. They just kind of knew it. They felt the oneness with the universe. All of a sudden, they became everything. So, and then when they started operating from that higher state, that's where all the good things happen. That's where everybody, like Yogananda also talks about it in his book, about his experience, what happened to him. So that's what self-luminous is. And then there was one or two more. Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. Tamasa Parastat means beyond the darkness. So here Swamiji explains that Krishna Bhagwan ne bol to diya example sun ka, then he suddenly realized the sun भी limited है. Because sun अपनी दृष्टि से देखो तो set भी हो जाता है and then उसकी जो luminosity है, you know, उसका प्रकाश change होता रहता है पूरे दिन में. So now he uses the word, it is beyond darkness. उसमें darkness है ही नहीं. You know, in fact, it is not even beyond, it is like beyond light and dark both. It is above it. And the one way to explain is, in that light of consciousness, I understand hona or nahi hona, dono I understand. That's why it is beyond. I understand light and I understand darkness.
Opposites do not exist.
Opposite do not exist. It's that one whole, but in that light, I understand both. So that's why it's beyond actually both. But here he's saying beyond darkness, and there's a double meaning in it. It's beyond the ignorance. Because whenever they use the word light, they use it as a knowledge. So, you know, light of knowledge. So it is beyond ignorance. So once you are in that, you're established. And that's what he talks about, that Jivan Mukti or whatever, that once that some people get established, they are like, उनको मोक्ष मिल गया लेकिन फिर भी वो इस body में हैं, because they have to still finish their karmic thing and all that. And then they, whatever they do, it is for the benefit of people. They don't have any personal agenda. That, you know, मेरे को कुछ मिल जाए, उनको already मिल चुका है. And then now they are just saying, they are looking at all of us and saying, ये बेचारे इतने दुखी हैं, मैं भी इनको भी वहाँ पहुँचा दूँ. That's what they do, right? That once they get to that stage, they just do everything for the Jan Kalyan. So anyway, I think I talked too much now. This